figure of the says that in itself, we have just to have the context for reading it. The says, so first the Rebbe brings out the Hemshech HaMaimar. The Rebbe was going to explain what's that the B'chin of Eitzer is in of the Maila Adiketz. So we explain each detail. What does it mean the Maila Adiketz? What does it mean the Mata Aditachlis? So we're going to see. Like I put in the beginning, so what's the Pshat Eir Ein-Sof? Eir Ein-Sof means that the Eir itself is Ein-Sof. Like the Rebbe means before. And B'frat in this Maimar Chazal, in this Tikkun Ezer, where we say the Maila gets Mata Aditachlis, so it's the double bar that the Eir Gufa is Ein-Sof. That's up. The Shaila is, how could they say that Eir is Ein-Sof? The Chorah that Eir is only a audible bad. So if it's an audible vad, I mean it's not the etzem. So it's an audible vad. That's not the primis of Elikus. So it's a davar mechudesh. It's a davar sheyesh le'tchila. Kol ma sheyesh le'tchila yesh le'tichla. And as not only it's a davar chodesh, I mean it's audible vad means that it's something which it's not the nefesh. It's not the etzem itself. It doesn't even express the etzem. Not even a chelik of the etzem. So you can't say that it's the quality of Ein Sof of the etzem the Eir has. The Eir is audible vat. The Eir is not even it's kolach shaligam the etzem. So the shaila is, so how is the Eir Ein Sof? That's the shaila. So the answer is that the fact that the Eir is Ein Sof is not mitzadasi because Eir mein amar. Because who mein amar? So you have to understand what exactly what's meant is that the Eir is not the Eir is Ein Sof. Not mitzadasi. It means mitzadasi means mitzad the gather of Gili itself. The gather of Gili, any mitzvah asar Eir himself is a mechudesh. That's the Eir mitzvah. The Eibush is not bound to any ideas, to any musagim. So, Gili Elikus. Gili Elikus is also something which had to be nischadish. And if it was nischadish, the cloud is kol ma sheyesh le'tchila yesh le'tichla. So the idea that Elikus is begili. The Gili of Elikus, is that an entity that's Ein Sof?
What does it mean it's begili?
You're able to sense Elikus. There's in of Eir. There's the etzem, and then there's Eir. Eir is the fact that what's the mata and the mashal? What's the nikud of Eir? And what's the chassidus? That there is the light that the sun has is a higher type of mitzvah. Eir means that it's mispashet, that a zulas and a kabbalah is able to feel and sense the.
So it's only happened after the zulas is created, right?
Huh?
It's only shaykh after the zulas is created.
No, there's a mystic of Eir even before the zulas is created. But the fact that loy hayu makam levidas elements. There wasn't space for a world. Why wasn't there space for a world? So I'll if there wouldn't be enough of spashtus Eir, there'd be no problem for space for a world. The etzem is not a stira to a world. The world is a metzius. I'm saying it could be that be'etzem because it's Ein Sof, but if it wouldn't be in a state of hergish, it wouldn't be in a concrete state in a metzius, so you could have a metzius and it wouldn't be a stira. Eir means that there's none of be'etzem that are beyond tfisa. They're beyond the description. They're not higher than a concrete reality. Concrete in the highest eifin. Gili means that the Indian is now in an eifin of Gilead and a mortgage. It's begili. If there's a person to feel it or not, I mean, if it's what I'm saying is that let's just use a simple dugma, just a pashta zach. People could have, let's say someone has in his nefesh, let's say have something, just a regular classic example. But let's say someone has in his nefesh sometimes, or he could have, how do you say it? So I'm saying everything. A person could have something that's bothering him, or could have something that's making him very happy. So if it's morgish, if the happiness that he has, or the sadness that he has, is morgish begilui, it doesn't stay in his nefesh. Then you will be a stira for him to learn for learning. Let's say you'll be a stira for him for asmada. But if it's just in his nefesh, this thing, it's not going to be a stira for him to do anything. He can do things that are stira, even though it's in his nefesh, but it's not in a state of hergish.
That's the idea of a gilid for.
It means what realm of reality is the thing? The etzem is not a reality b'chlal. It's a higher than it's in a bleak vault. It's higher than has no uptouch. It's not a being in our terms b'chlal. If it's not a being in our terms, so there could be a reality, there could be a velt, and The reason why there had to be a tzimtzum was because it itself was a malach machal. Because there was in Metzias, there was the hergish of Elokus. If Elokus was how do you say was namal kol achol was taking up space in the reality. It's a different Indian. Elokus is murgish. In mitzad the etzim itself, there would be no stira. Yes, Pashto to Chassidus, Alter Friedrich speaks about this. Let's say you have a Pesach Chacham Gadol that his Tasad Gadol that his godless is projected, is bigali, is bizgalus. Then when there's someone standing in front of him, a Talmud, or then it's battle because their margish is godless. At the Baal Shem Tov's times, he had the Baal Shem Tov himself. Before he was in Zgala, he had an appearance of a simple peasant. They're a person that's a gehebin a mensch, so even if you try to cover him, so you'll be able to see that he has a pshat respond, and he's not stam. I'm saying there's simple people. They have a face of that they're just the present. The Baal Shem Tov didn't give any appearance that he was anything different. He looked mamish like a simple peasant, like everything. He was mailim his miles. So that his mouths weren't nikabachos. So he spoke to people that whoever around him didn't feel any agba of his nasus. So he was the same God of them, but it wasn't murgish. It wasn't begilu. It was in a higher eifin. If it was in a higher eifin, it was beyond tangible eifin. So someone that that's in the tangible reality, it wasn't felt. So people that were in front of him, which weren't that they weren't able to be margish as gadlus, they were able to be bechutz b'diktim, let's say, because they were margish as mohus. When the Baal Shem Tov was nisgala, that means that his own mohus came begilu in a tangible way. So people that sense things that are tangible, they're going to be in his battle from it. It means that it's open, that it's begoli. It's felt. Das verstand ich the word. Kaplan. So Shaila is the idea of Gilui, because is that Ein Sof or not? So you speak about Gilui is an idea. And the Gilui, this revelation of Elokus, say the Pashtus. You have a person, and the fact that the person is not just, it's not only within himself, but it's projected outside. He shines. That's not the etzim itself. The etzim itself is the idea itself, the mohus or Elokus itself. Then you have that this mohus is mispashet, it's meir, it's open, and it's begilui. So gilui is a davar mechudesh. The fact that there's revelation of a union. The revelation is mechudesh. The same way a nivra once didn't exist. I mean, it has to be created. Gilui, the idea of Gilui also has to be created. Anything that has to be created is davar mukh. But why does the Tikkun Ezra say that the Gilui of Elokus is Ein Sof? The Ein of Elokus is Ein Sof. Why do you say that? That's the Shaila. You have to understand what's the musik of Gilui. That Gilui is Me'ein Amar. That's a different word. That's what the Rebbe says here. Mitzchus asmi, we speak about, if you're going to go, mitzad asmi, means Gilui, mitzad its own idea, Gilui is a davar mechudesh, like everything else. But over here's different stories. The home, since the air is nimtza me'amar, so it's me'en amar. Someone has the different other nusach, or is the same, this man? Since the air is nimtza me'amar, so it's me'en amar. So this Nikud, we have to understand, what does it mean that the air is me'en amar? And how does that change this Indian, and why does that make it the air is believable? So there brings out that there is two Eifanis to explain it. It brings that there's two Eifanis Eshpa, there's Shefa and there's air. What's the chilik? What's the chilik of Shefa and air? So this I was saying last time. Shefa is, like the Rebbe brings out over here, that a chilik of the makar is nimshal. You have this is the klal. The klal is you have a mashpia and you have a makabel. So in the Gashmis you have the stream of water, you have a mayan, and you have the place which is being makabel the mayan, from the mayan. The klal is the makabel is always lower than the mashpia. Or the Indian, the way it is in the makar, is always higher than the Indian, the way it expresses itself in actuality. Always. Let's say there's no makabel. Let's say a person has a kayach, just a person has a kayach haseichel. There's the kayach haseichel. The kayach haseichel itself is the potential to understand. It's a kayach, right? Now, you can use this kayach haseichel to learn Gemara. You can learn the kayach haseichel to figure out this specific sugi. You can learn the kayach haseichel for a different sugi. You can learn kayach haseichel on other topics. There would be a difference when you're learning. The kayach haseichel doesn't have the tzir of a specific sugya. It's the kayach haseichel. It's mufshet from the tzir of what type of svaras or what type of sugya is going to be used. But when it's being actualized, When the Kayach is going to be actualized l'payil, there has to have a sort of what type of sugya are you going to learn? Where are you going to actualize your potential? It's going to have a certain sort of a sugya. The payil mamish, the gidi l'payil, the something functioning in actuality, being realized l'payil, materialized l'payil, is always going to be in a lower level than the way it is in potential. In potential, it doesn't have a limit that it has to be expressed dafka in this subject. It could have been expressed in a different subject. The Kayach B'chal is mufshet from a tzir of what type of subject. It's a Kayach HaSeichel, which is pushed from a certain sort of what type of subject. L'payil, but you can't learn a Kayach HaSeichel. Yeah. If you're learning L'payil, you have to learn what type of topic they have over here. So the Seichel L'payil, using the Seichel L'payil, is not going to express the Kayach in its purity. This does it. Besides the fact that people don't use the full potential, but I'm saying even besides that, if you're dealing with actualizing the Inyan, it's never going to express the Inyan the way it has been paired. The makar is always the resource of it, the source of it, the potential of it. The potential always is a more edel and mitzias than being actualized in the payil. For something to be actualized, it has to gain certain forms that the Inyan, the way it is in the makar, doesn't have. That's never pashut. Every case is like that. But there's air and there's more. So there's the makar of the Inyan. Let's say they're saying maya. The maya is the source of water, the makar of water. Same b'kashmit. And then you have the water itself. Then they have this earth which doesn't access the source. He's getting wet. He's getting a little water coming to him. But a little water is a small percentage of the source. It's not the whole source. It's not the source of water. But a little bit of water is coming. The same thing we have. Then we have another thing, which another gashmistic phenomenon of something which contains the source of the Inyan. The shemesh has the source of light. It's a different energy. It's a different type of light. I'm saying this is even more. But the light that we're dealing with now, the word er in Chassidus has two types. Er could mean light. The way we touch light, light means that we're able. The thing that causes us to be able to see things. That's called light. We're not dealing. It's not the yellow color or the rays. That's not light b'chal. The yellow reflection. That's the light. The power to without light we don't see. Something when mitamam is day, we're able to see what's going on. The thing that causes us to be able to see things is called behirus. This energy, the makar of this energy is in the sun. But the light, the way it is in the sun, is in a whole different echos than the way we experience light. You see, like every other makar and thing that comes from the makar. The mayim, the way it's from the source of water, from the stream, which is from the source, is also a whole different nature, a whole different echos. So when you're experiencing water l'payil, it has to have how much water you're drinking. It has to have a certain medida v'agvala, which you don't have in the makar of mayim. So you have in the shemesh. In the shemesh also, you have the source of light. The shemesh has the light in a potential state, in a makar state, in a makar eifim, which is a higher eifim, and then we're experiencing l'payil. So it has to be that. What's the idea of light in actuality? That's making us be able to see this room. Okay, so I would say that it's the like every other makar and tetzah. So the Chassidus says about every other makar, even though when you're being margish the inyan l'payil, when the makabel is getting the inyan, when the inyan is being actualized, it's not the full extent of the makar, because the makar is always the source of it. It's always beyond the inyan, the way it's being actualized, the way the makabel gets it. But the makabel gets a percentage of it. Using when you're learning the sugya, it's not that your whole potential was expressed in this subject, because your potential could have learned a different subject, but a little bit of it, a part of it was used. The person has a kayach hatnuah. You have power in your hand to move things. At the end of the day, the kayach, when you're moving a specific table, the kayach doesn't have the tzir of a table or a tzir of that thing. But when you're actualizing l'payil, you're going to have a tzir of a table. So you're not going to express the full what the kayach hatnuah is, but a percentage of it you are going to express. A part of the, even if you move let's say even the pashas, you can move a much bigger thing. You can move a heavy table, and you move a lighter table. So you're not going to say, you can say it's a horrible vad. Nothing of the kayach hatnuah was used. A little bit of the kayach hatnuah was used. You didn't use your full power, but you used a percentage of your power. That's the part of shefa. Shefa is that even though I'm in this pu'ula or when the inyan is being misgala, it's not the full inyan, but it's a little bit of it. By the shemesh, it's not like that. By the shemesh, the light, the way we experience light, that's not even a percentage. There's nothing there of what light is itself. It's not even a percentage of light. Nothing of the sun, of the resource of the sun, nothing extends itself to this place. That's horrible about it. You have to understand what's the abundance. So the shayla is, the klal is that shefa is, Inyan cannot be done without shefa. I was saying the Marshal Rabbi Talmud just this because this Mekudah brings up the point very strong. You have a Rav, that's a mashpia and a Kaplan, a much more in Yana the way we relate to it, a much clearer way. You have a Rav, he understands the seichel. The Rav is me'ach, he is one that's mechadish to Sfarad. That means that his seichel is hecher, his seichel, and he came up with this idea. The Talmud's on a lower level than the Rav. So the Inyan the way it is by the Rav, the Talmud can't get it. It's on a lower level. But Dugmas, like I'm saying, that the Inyan the way it is in a source, the world of actualization can't capture the Inyan the way it is in potential. It's not shaykh. Because the world of Pale Mamish, the world of when something's being experienced in the Pale, is always going to have certain didas akbalas that the Inyan the way it is B'kayach doesn't have. Understand what I'm saying? So the gili of the Inyan is always going to be less than the Inyan the way it is in potential. The Talmud, since the Talmud is a lower keli, he has other gedarim of the Rav. So in order for him to understand the Seichel, for the Seichel to come to his world, the Seichel has to lower itself. So now when the Rav found the way, it was mitzamtzim the Seichel. What happens now? Does the Talmud got now a version of the Svara that he's able to yet understand? Is this Svara, I wanted to say, it's not the full emek of the way the Rav understood it. You had to lower itself down. The Svara, the way the Rav understood it, was too edel for the Talmud. You had to lower it down. But Lepayel, but how does the Talmud get this Svara? Because we were mitzamtzim the Svara Rav. It means a little bit of the eichos, a little bit of the quality of the Rav was lowered down, and the Talmud did get. So a little bit of the Rav the Talmud got. Not everything, but a little bit he got. Other things able to get to mine. The source you don't have. But the fact that you're getting wet, only water can make you wet. So what does it mean? A little bit of water you got. If I state the meaning. But everyone say if I care to that. But everyone. So then that's the you don't say by Shafi, you don't say the Seichel Talmud is me'ain Seichel Rab. You don't say that. What does Ermein Amar? Ermein Amar doesn't just mean that the light is like its source. Always the Teitzah is always like the source. By Shefa also the water that comes and makes wet this place is like the stream. The way we use the Lashon Ermein Amar, everything's me'ain. Of course, if you have a Teitzah which comes from a Makkah, it's going to be me'ain Amar. What's the question? When the Rav Zimshei Seichel Talmud, they also say that the Seichel Talmud is the same. It's never from the Svara of the Rav. Ermein Amar is saying something else. Seichel Talmud, the Seichel Talmud doesn't reflect the Seichel Rav. Seichel Talmud is a different version. You're not going to say, what's the Seichel Talmud, a reflection of Seichel? It's not a reflection. It's a different version of the Inyan. And in the version, the way the Talmud got it, you don't have the way the Rav understood it. It's not a reflection of the Rav. Ermein Amar is saying that the Gili, is not an entity for itself. It's the reflection of the Mar. It's the Mar being expressed over here. It's the Etzem Kameshahu being expressed. It's not something else. What is the reflection of the Mar? It's not what it says for itself. The Svar that Rav explained at the Talmud is not a reflection of the Rav. It's the Rav took his idea and limited it down and made another version of it. Like you say when you get to water. The water that comes here is not a reflection of the stream. It's a reflection of the stream. It's a part of the stream. It's a little bit of the stream. A little bit is not a reflection of the whole stream.
It's the same exact thing as a stream, right?
No, it's but it's less. It's Moshe Gashmi. You're saying it's not the reflection of the stream. It's a part of it. It's a little bit of it. Or we're saying that the air is a reflection of the Mar.
Just understanding about the shefa. Why is the shefa that he's giving over to the Talmud not getting the same thing that his own shefa? Like in the Mashal, the water, it's the same exact water.
By the Seichel Talmud is also the same thing, but it's a Gashmi, it's like a Mashal, but it's less.
What's less?
It's less. First of all, it's less in common.
First, it's less. I'm saying
also, could be the freshness is like many things should be lacking in the water when you're giving a little bit. I'm saying there could be common in that.
The Mashal, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, but there's a certain drive that the water has. I'm saying I didn't really experience so much the source of how a mayan comes out. But when the water is coming out from its source, mitakas la'adama, could be there's a certain chayis there, a certain fresh. Could be many things that when the water is detached from its marker, it's going to be different. What I'm saying. So first thing we're saying is that what the Talmud gets is an entity for itself. What's this entity? A little bit of the alien. It can't be an entity without being the alien. But we say is not an entity for itself. It's reflecting the whole etzem. The reflects the entire etzem. That's what we're saying. That's the whole converting answer. So we're saying that the Gilui reflects the etzem. So that's a pebble. Even though l'chora, how could Gilui reflect the etzem? L'chora, the etzem is beyond fisa. The etzem is beyond understanding. What are we saying? I'm saying every makar is beyond actualization. So how does it usually work? In order for the idea to come to a world of Pil Mamish, it has to lower itself down, and the essence or the quality has to lower itself down and suit the world of actuality. say the meaning. The same thing when you get to Behiras. You have the way this light, the way it is in the sun. That's the source of light. Let's say you have the fire, the way it is in Surah Halamish, in the stone over there. The Kayach Eish, the way it's there. But we don't know how fire looks over there. What does it mean that there's a trace of fire? But when this Kayach is now going to come, is going to activate, that there should be actual fire. That's a symptom. You're not going to say the fire. Are you going to say the fire reflects the Kayach? This fire that you see gives you is a reflection of the etzem. It's not a reflection of the etzem. It's that quality had to lower itself down to a new form. So you only have the quality the way it's in this form. You don't have the quality the way it is in the etzem, and that it can't be otherwise. If gilui is lower than etzem, and you're experiencing gilui, so what are you experiencing? It's the quality of the etzem had to lower himself down and come to the form of gilui.
That's earth.
No, that's not. That's shefa. That would be shefa. That means that the quality, the way the quality is in the etzem, I don't access. But the quality has to lower itself down into a form of gilui. And then what do you have in gilui? Not the entire etzem, because gilui is a lower form, a lower mode. But it'll be a little bit of the etzem, a percentage of the etzem. That's namish like by Rabbi Talmud. But Ermen Amar means that the gilui reflects the etzem. It's a whole different story.
So it's a din by it's din in the Kabul. Like there's a lot of things.
Before that, I'm talking about the Tavasatesh Ermen Amar. Ermen Amar means I was matkish last time the Kudav Ha'ara, but I want to say what the Rabbi wants to bring out here. Ermen Amar means that the gilui reflects the etzem. That's what Ermen Amar is. The gilui does. It's not in gilui. You don't only have the quality the way it is limited to the form of gilui. Gilui is that the etzem should be seen through the gilui. It's a whole different story.
So what? By gilui of shefa, there is no gilui of etzem.
So what's the svarda?
Two separate giluis. Two types of gilui.
It's two separate inyanim. So the shaila is when is it? So the guy to question. That's the question. When do you say that? When could you say Ermein Amar? And when do you say shefa? And I'm saying the difference is. But so what is supposed to say the simple example that why is it when the Rav is Mashriya say Talmud or when the water make this place wet? Now the stream could become ice. The stream could leave the water. You could detach this water from the stream. It's going to stay wet over here. Why by the sun? When the sun leaves, the light is ice. Why can't we capture the? Why can't there be light? Why if you close the curtains, it won't be light in the room? There was light here before. We should close the sun could leave. We have light here. Why is it different than wetness? Because by water, a little bit of the water came here. Mashayka Hashem, a little bit of the sun didn't come here. What the gilui is reflecting the sun. That's the whole gilui. The guy doesn't understand, but what's the muhus over here is if the gilui was that a little bit of the energy came to a form of gilui, so you have the quality the way it is in the world of etzem, in the mode of etzem, which we can't experience, and then we have this quality of light the way it came to the form of gilui. So then, once this quality came to the world, to the form of gilui, to the mode of gilui, cut the etzem, we have the gilui. And the quality never came to the world of gilui. The quality always stayed in the etzem. There's all quality. There's one essence. And what's the gilui that the etzem is being reflected? That he's being begotten. So if there's no he, there's nothing to see. There is such a thing called. There is no light. I was saying that there is no light in a different mode. There's only light in the sun. And this light that's in the sun, we're seeing.
How can we see it?
That's the question. How can we see it? That's the question. If this etzem, and etzem is higher than gilui, and gilui is a lower mode of experience, so how could the etzem be seen? How could the etzem be begoled? That's the question. So that's the answer to this. That the reason the musik of air comes from an etzem which is not mugbal. If you have your qualities in a limited way, so then you have a certain form. If you have a reality in a certain form, so in order for you to come to a different form, you have to come there. And that's not the derech hamela. And then if you come there, it's not that you're not there. It's you in a mode of the way you're mitzvah according to that quality. But if you have something, which is a mitzias atzvus means that you have your eichos that you have in an unlimited way, the shemesh contains the quality of light. It's not in a certain form. It's in an unlimited way. So it's not limited to be higher than expression. It could be expressed also. The etzem is not limited to be dafke in an unexperienced way. It could be experienced. So what could be? So where did the experience come from? The gilui comes from the etzem, not from somewhere else.
Are we able to be typhus in the art?
Without them, what do you mean typhus there? We're able to be margish there.
Just like we typhus to shefa, are we able to be typhus to art?
What does typhus mean?
That you have it now.
But if you don't, the air there is no air outside of the etzem. The air is the etzem's. The fact that the etzem is believable. If the sun leaves, there can't be light. If the sun leaves, What is the that the etzem is unlimited, so he's also seen. The energy, the quality of light, the way it is in the sun, there is no two qualities of light. There's one quality of light. Imagine you have a tzurach halamish, there's a kayach ha'esh, and that kayach ha'esh itself wasn't a limited thing, and it would become fire. That kayach ha'esh itself. You see, so once you have fire, could you take it away from the kayach ha'esh? This is the kayach ha'esh. How could you take it away?
You have the kayach?
You could, if you keep the sun of the world, very good.
Saying if you have that,
if you don't have the sun, if you have to have the etzem, but if you don't have the etzem, there's nothing to talk about.
Saying if you have that, you can't be mechalik. That's a solid.
Does Zakman? That's what Chassidus says. The minute this is saying, what's the word? What's it? Okay, that's not the mashal of the mirror. Just brings out a certain aspect of the reveal. So we say this mashal, but not to bring out the havana of it. Just Chassidus says the word that er is davik ba'amar. The minute the Meir leaves, the air becomes his vatal. So it sounds like, yeah, this is totally in that, but it's not. He says, just to bring out there's someone standing across a mirror, so you're going to say that the image of the mirror is davuk, chves batal to the person. That if he leaves, the image is going to leave. Is a shayt to say that? If he is going to walk away, the image is going to walk away. It's not the pshat that if he walks away, the image is going to walk away. Lechatchila, what is the image? His reflection. It's not the pshat. I had this image on the mirror. Why, when he left, did it leave? So it's very dependent. It's not very dependent. The mirror never contained this image. It was him being reflected. It was his reflection. If he's not there, it's not there. What is the image? His reflection.
Huh? You can even more. You don't even need a mirror. You're looking at a person. Why does when he moves, I don't see him anymore?
Right, you can say like that. Yeah, exactly. But Shemesh is not mamish like that. In the Havana of area, right?
Shemesh you see it, it's only...
It's not mamish like Shemesh, it's not mamish like that. But you get to Nimshi, right? Yeah. But I'm trying to bring out is, so the point is like this. So the Gabi there wants to bring out here, and what it is. If the Chiddush is that the Gili stems from the Etzem. If the Gili stems from the Etzem, then the Gili is Blikvul. That's what they were saying.
Stems from the Etzem or it's Kilu the Etzem?
It's the Etzem.
So it stems from the Etzem, where it is.
But the Gili doesn't capture what the Etzem is. But since what is the Gili? That the Etzem is Begali, so the Gili is Blikvul. That's what we're saying here.
So basically an expression.
What I'm saying is, if there was a reality called Gili, there's Etzem, and Etzem is Mugbal, Etzem is beyond expression, then there's a reality called expression. And you have a Lukus, the Lukus is in a higher realm. You have a Lukus, the Lukus comes down to a lower realm. How do we understand the Pashtus? You say, the Eivish is Blikvul. He's Blikvul, but we're Gvul. In Gvul, could you sense Blikvul? Say, for sure not. So that means that the Eivish is, so he's Blikvul. So then he's beyond, then he's limited, because it's beyond our experience. You say, yeah, but he's not limited. If he wants, he could come down. If he wants, he could lower himself down. That's not air, that's gvul. Then you're saying that the way that he mitzad himself is a very lofty thing, but he's not limited to me. If he wants, he can lower himself down. Ein Sof means something else. Gili means that him, the way he is bli gvul, is not limited to be up. Not that he could come down. The etzem l'chatchila is not mugbal. It's not that since he's not mugbal, so therefore he could lower himself. You see, that even he's not limited, that he only understands it in a very deep way. He could lower it down to it's not he could lower it. Shloima was able to lower it down to anybody. It's not to lower it down. L'chatchila, the Indian has no definition. If the Indian has no definition, l'chatchila, so if it has no definition, so it could be also experienced. Why not? It could be also begili. So what's being begili? The Ein Sof itself is being begili. So the earth is Ein Sof. The earth is blikvul. Yeah, that's interesting. But look at the lesson that Rabbi says it here. It's not so partial to understand. Rabbi saying, therefore, the earth is blikvul. Because really, the earth is not an entity for itself. What is the earth? The earth is the fact that the Moed has the Indian of Gili. If earth is that the Moed has the Indian of Gili, so the same way the Moed is blikvul, so the earth is going to be blikvul.
The limit, like the chesaron of the art is not a din just in the Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah only, like the smicha of the thing or whatever. That's how it relates to the shemesh. It can't be
but Lepayo, there is such a thing called earth. There is the Gili. What I'm saying is the word. there's difference between what's here and what's felt, begoli.
Yeah, but I'm saying what's felt is only because it's a sign of the makabel, not of.
Or not only the makabel. The gather of gili. Gili is gili, and not etzem. The pel gili is gili. And gili, I'm saying, let's say something which is Rebbe speaks over here about it. That since the eid is calling the eid is the mar, so there is going to be in Yanam and Gili, which is not Shaykhs to Gili. That doesn't have a verstehen. But it's not only mitzvah in the Kabel. Gili has limitations. Gili is being experienced in a concrete way. Concrete doesn't give over the idea the way it's beyond concrete. Not only you're not going to get it. The etzem, which he's the mufshit, he sees the concrete differently. It's a different story. He sees the concrete that it says blikvol. But the concrete itself doesn't contain blikvol. Gili is not a chasham the mekabel. Gili is Gili. Gili doesn't express the way it's beyond Gili. From the etzem's point of view, so the Gili is a part of his itself. It's not something else. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see the Gili as an entity for itself. So it's a different story. But if you're looking at Gili as a form of being, Gili experienced the palace, and it doesn't express things the way they are bad. There's some other. I just want to see a certain. There's a lot of some above. So let me see. Shkar. Let's see what. It says over here. Let's see how he says the. Is it? I thought it was more eschatological. What's the pshat? Yeah. So the nekuda is that so we're saying is any idea outside of the Eibusher is mugbal. But what's that? The eid is not an idea outside of it. Eid is the etzem's hedrag bala. The etzem's hedrag bala. That's the etzem's So the same way the etzem is believable. So, and his big voice, it's not a chiddush that it can be revealed. The whole idea of Eid is that it's not a chiddush that it can be revealed. He's not mugos, it can be revealed. If you would say, if you're detaching the Gili from him, so then you say, Gili is something which had to be created. Here we're saying something else. What's the Eid? The Eid is the fact that the etzem is not mugbo. The fact that the etzem is not mugbo, that's something that was mischadish. The fact that the etzem is not limited to be in a state of etzem. It could also be vigili. That's something that was mischadish. So that air is not a davar chudish kaviyov. But so the air is b'digvol. Yeah. But I can but the Rebbe right away goes into a different. Let's see the lashon of Rebbe's name at the beginning. Why the Rebbe goes into a whole big chiddush over here. To understand the chiddush, that's the shame. The Rebbe right away goes into a chiddush gadol. Look, he says like this. He says like this. And this is totally, look at the lashon. Just, I think the figure says that lashon. I just don't know I don't know if the Nachas Namish would do that. I listened to it a week ago, but here it says like this. It's true what it says here anyway, but the question is if it said like this or not. So Shef as a Metzias Vama means a something, an essential part of the Makar was in Shef. Eir is a Arab Vat. It was a Gash in the Kamash. Eir HaShemesh Einem Metzias Mahuz Davar. There's no energy of the Shemesh there. In the light that we're getting, means the Gilidik light, if you're taking the Gilidik light as an entity for itself, there's nothing of the sun there. If there's nothing of the sun there, how does it exist? Where did it come from? If there's nothing of the quality of the sun, so how is there light? The same way we say, the water, the thing that made this thing wet, has no traits of water. It has no traits of water. So where did it come from? It has not. If it came from water, it has to have some trace of water in it. If it has no remnants to water at all, so where did it come from? So there's the Arab Vad. What does Arab Vad mean? That has nothing of the sun. Arab Vad, we want to say that the light that we experience that has nothing, no comparison to what light really is. Has nothing from the qualities of light. Why? Because I said, let's say in a pashto dugma, but you say that the way we experience light is that it's to be able to see things, that it pushes away darkness. Legani, the sun, there's no things there, and there's no mustic of darkness there. There is no idea of darkness. The sun never saw darkness in his life. There's no mustic of darkness. So we have no idea what light means over there. The light, the way we experience is b'chal nadarini. So where did it come from? Where did it come from? So Abdem sagt, Harag Shcheni Pel Shem Shini B'Hashemesh, V'Nasa Klum B'Hashemesh. Mitzad the fact that it is Arab Vad, there's a mile in the Indian of it. Fakir. The musik of Arab Vad brings out a mile in it. Why? Because that means that the Eid itself is like not an entity. What is it? It's the Mars Blikful.
It's not an entity.
It's not an entity for itself.
It's an entity. It's the art. It's the
etzem. It's the etzem in a form of Gilui. But why is the etzem in the form of Gilui? Because it's not limited to a specific form. So what's in Gilui? Something which is not limited to a form. What's Begili is something which is not limited in Gilui. That's what's Begili. It's all different words. It's Begili not because it's suited to the form of Gilui. It's Begili because you can't limit it, you can't define it in a certain thing. So what's Begili? The undefinables is Begili.
Do you see that?
So that's going to change what we're seeing also. Since what's in the Gilui is not as something which is suits and is in the mode of Gilui. It's an undefinable entity, so therefore the Gilui is going to be in a different way. That's going to be the hemshech.
So you're saying you're going to see in this Gilui
that it's not regular.
That
it's not a concrete thing.
Suited for Gilui, it's really
that it's something beyond it. Yeah. That it's an etzem. There's something undefinable here. Even though Gilui by definition is defined. Because if you're experiencing it, has to be something defined. But since what's being experienced, something which is beyond the limitations of experience, so the experience you see that it's not a regular thing here.
Meaning that it's not Gilui? That's what you're saying?
That it's beyond Gilui. Well, but there's different biyurim. Chassidus gives happened to get to Eir HaShemesh. Eir HaShemesh, one of the dugas Chassidus says. The Eir HaShemesh, the same energy. You have a massive room, so you have much more light in the room. Hundreds of windows, and you have a tiny little light coming into one room. So you're going to say, by Seichel, by Shefa, you're going to say, or water. You have a lot of water and small water. That's a difference in not only, it's a difference in quantity. More water or less water. Light, the same exact quality that you have in a small light, the same exact quality in a big light. There's no such a thing bigger light. There's no such a thing. Bigger, the quality of light you don't have more of. The question is how much it's felt. Chassidus says that Eisei Er Shemer Pater G'deilim is the same Er Shemer in a tiny little room, in a dim room. The quality of light is the exact same quality of light. There's no difference. It's the same energy. The question is how much you feel it. Chassidus think differences, but in the Mahor it's exactly the same thing.
Is it Shach Kamos differently?
That first thing, but I'm saying usually in Elam Hazah, something more Kamos brings more of the quality of the Indian. Not necessarily.
You have light that's stronger than other light.
Huh?
You have certain light bulbs, certain fires.
The light of the sun doesn't do things stronger on this. There's no such thing stronger. Usually, if you have more of something, more water, so that gives everything is a different. There's some energy in the water that comes from the ribui. It's a world of kamas. The more you have of something, the more there's a certain strength. But there's no such a thing. There's no such a thing more. There's no such a thing stronger light. Stronger. There's no such a thing stronger light. There's one light. There's no stronger and weaker. There's no such a thing.
What's the shot that there is?
I don't know, but again, to these lights, I have no idea. But when you get Eir HaShemesh, I just take Chassidus. There's no stronger and weaker lights.
Of course.
Why? Of course.
The Shemesh.
Well, if you have a tiny little bit of light going into a room, you can say that it's a weaker light. The more light you have, the more of the quality of light you have.
In the spot, why would it be weaker?
What?
In that spot where the sun is shining.
Because everything in Elam Hazeh, the echos, the quality of something, is connected to the quantity. I'm saying you can't have a little midget can't have the amount of power that where there's bigger bones, so there's a potential for bigger power. I'm saying that's Elam Hazeh. This is the way Elam Hazeh is built.
How is also compound?
If you have wood, how does he make stronger wood? It has to be more compound, more chaymer. Doesn't how do you get the stronger wood? You're talking about I'm going to add another piece, but it's not about adding it. But if you have this thing in a stronger, more, it's going to be stronger. If the wood is more condensed, you have more matter together. It makes more energy. The kamas brings the echos. By light, nicht das Sache.
You can't have more than one light in one spot.
It's not about light more than us. Every other nivra in Elam has it. The more kamas they have of it, the more its quality is going to be. It's going to be stronger.
Do more things.
If you have wood compacted in a lot of chemera wood, so it's going to be a stronger, more firm.
If you shine a bunch of mirrors in one spot, it's going to be much hotter.
Say that kind of good. So
it's not a thing of brightness. It's a certain.
There's no stronger and less light. It's the same light. There's never stronger and less. Wood, you could have stronger wood and weaker wood.
When you're putting a bunch of wood together, it's one wood now. It's a bunch of pieces of wood together. So
I don't know how it works,
so strong.
but the fact is that a ribe kamus, a chaymer, it's not only that. The echos is connected to the kamus always. It's a world of kamas. So the energy of something, if wood has qualities, I don't know if wood has qualities, but if it has qualities, so its qualities are going to be strengthened when the kamas is more. The sun has a certain quality, it's a certain energy, a certain echos. That echos is take a simple dogma, fire. You have one flame, a stronger fire. There's music of a stronger fire, stronger heat. There's energy there that comes from having a lot of it. But the energy of light never gets more.
You have a lot of light, a lot of space.
It doesn't get more, so the energy is the same.
If you have one solar panel, if you have 1,000 solar panels, it's going to make a lot more energy.
That's the chimum. The heat
That's the same idea.
of the sun. No, it's not. This heat of the sun is a different story. Talking about the energy of light. The ability to see, there's no stronger energy. I'm talking about that aspect of light. Ability to see. Not the heat. So that's a raya that if would be in the Gdorim of Gilui, mitzad the Gdorim of Gilui, so more kamus should have an effect on the mitzad the Gdorim of Gilui. But since what's being Nizgali or something which is not mukdar in the Gdorim of Gilui, so the kamus doesn't make a difference. In the world of Gilui, things are affected by how much space you give it. But since the Gilui over here is the Etzem, so therefore the Etzem is not affected, so the Gilui is also not affected. This is different. In Jana Mechsidus, that comes at this word that it's the more being Nizgali. Okay, that's not verstehen as well. Huh? For which prat? For Eiser. There's actually blood in the Sikha, there's a Sikha Chelik Zayin Emer. Aleph for Bezer Emer. But you can look in the Severchem, the Erech there's the Erech B'yachs L'Shefa, Chelik Beis. So he brings the Derech Klal, the Marmikaimus of these Inyanim. I don't know what type of language it says it in, but the Rebbe brings in the Sikha of Emer Chelik Zayin. But here, but that comes together with being audible vat. But now this is an important point. If the Inyan, if the Gilui, anytime, if you want to know, is it anytime the Gilui that comes from the Makar has a chshivus, has quality for itself, then so you have the Etzem has its quality, then there's an additional quality. The minute they say there's an additional quality, so then the Gilui and the Etzem are two separate inyanim. The Gilui exists for its own right. But earlier we say, since the air from its own point is audible vad, so how does the Makar, if the Makar gains nothing from having the air? So why? So what's the air? Faket, but there's the hedrak ball of the Mar. That's the word. Audible vad comes together that the only thing that's here is the Makar's blikvol. If the Indian has a chshivus, then the Makar has, not because it's blikvol, then the Makar has it because this thing has a chshivus. Then it's only going to be limited according to the chshivus of this thing. But when this thing is audible vad, so then the reason why this thing exists is the hedrak bal of the mar. Audible vad comes together with mein amar. The minute you say that this thing has a chshivus, then the etzem is kedelit, not because it's not something that the etzem is kedel. It's because this thing has a chshivus. So the etzem includes this thing. So the nefesh has a keich haseichel. Why does it? Keich haseichel doesn't reflect the whole nefesh. Why doesn't it reflect the whole nefesh? Why is the nefesh have keich haseichel? Because seichel is a quality thing. How much quality does seichel have? A limited amount of quality. So that, according to that quality, that's how much the nefesh is expressed in seichel, limited according to the chshivus of seichel. Since the air has no chshivus, so why is there? Because the mind is believable. So the etzem has no limits. So what's in the air is the etzem itself, not anything else. The thing is, if the Gabi the Shemesh, let's say, speaking about the Eir HaShemesh, if the Gabi the Shemesh, there would be an idea of light to be Deiche Cheshech. There's two versions of light, there are two qualities of light. One light that's beyond darkness, another quality of light to push away darkness. Then, when we're sitting over here in the world of darkness, light comes. Which light came and took away the darkness? That quality of light that takes away darkness. Now we're saying something else. The Gabi the Shemesh, there is no musik of darkness. And the darkness means nothing to it. Taking away darkness means nothing to it. Doesn't mean nothing to the light. Taking away darkness. The idea of darkness that doesn't exist. The light of the sun. Taking away darkness means nothing for the sun. So what's the pshat that light is pushing away darkness? You have to say a different beer. Since light legabi there is no darkness. So avada gevis, when there's going to be darkness, it's going to be cancelled. So what's cancelling the darkness is not something that in Yonah is to cancel darkness. What's cancelling the darkness is something which legabi there is no idea of darkness b'chlal. That's what we're saying with the word. When you say Arav Alat, you're saying, so what's here? What's here is that, not anything else.
Is there ever a time when the earth is pushing away the darkness because that's
then it's not Eir, then it's Shefa. Then it's going to be Shefa. If the Inyan is Nimshach to the Mekabel, Surah to the Mekabel, that means that the Inyan has an Erech Legabi the Makir. If the Inyan had no Erech Legabi the Makir, so how could you limit him and how could you put him in the form of the Mekabel? You can only put the Inyan in the form of the Mekabel if the Mekabel could contain the Elion's form. But if the Mekabel means nothing to the Gabi the Elion, he's Koloch of the Gabi the Elion. So how is the Elion there? Because the Elion is not limited. It's a different Inyan. Yeah.
This part of art that we're saying,
yeah,
as opposed to Shabbat, it's only really possible by the Eibusher, which
of course, only but the Eibusher get this tchuna. We have Nevrem that they have this quality of that the energies that they have are not in a limited way. The qualities that they have.
The reason why the Shemesh is shining light is because
the Shemesh has the energy, has the quality, not in a limited way. I'll give you a different. This is a good example, Gerard. Forget about the Shemesh. The Shemesh is a good example. Even though the Shemesh has the quality of light, not in a limited form. Not in a limited form. Every other thing contains its qualities in a certain form. The Shemesh has a quality of light in an unlimited way. It's how can it be believable? But I'm saying, as I'm a certain Indian, we have a good mashal which just brings out a certain point. We're not learning the sugi of Erev Shefa Mamish in the Mekaydes, but this is a mashal that Rav Hillel Paritcher writes in Pelacharimim. I didn't see. I heard this mashal, but the mashal is that I saw it once, but I didn't go through it for myself and find it. So the mashal is you have a yid is sitting and davening. Sitting davening with the ganze Yid is davening with his and then someone goes by, and when the Yid's davening, if someone goes by, he's going to be in a seir. Someone's davening with an emes, he's going to be in a seir. He's going to have a seir tshuva. So that's one eifin. So the davener was mashpia on the one that passed by. You have another eifin is how is he going to be in a seir tshuva? Someone's going to sit down, he's going to explain to him that it doesn't that the stegnish to zindikin and this and that. So that's two ifan. So the second is that's shefa. Shefa is that there's a person which he has a certain case whenever the nishenis is going through, and someone understands his situation and explains the ideas and the importance of Torah mitzvahs according to this person's asagas. He explains to him that it's tegnish the way of life they're living, and he gives him a whole speech over there, and it affects him. He was masber him. The person that's sitting at davening, the guy has no clue b'chlal. This is the shiyidar and has no clue about what this form of life that this person is going through. And he's not thinking if he's davening in order to inspire him, so then it's ken davening. He's not. Then he wouldn't inspire him. He's busy with the emek and the etzem of a look. He's davening emes davening, and so that's so how is he mashpianim? The shaila is how is he mashpianim? He didn't explain himself on his terms. L'churei has a certain energy. There's a certain energy of his davening. This person is not a kedi for his davening the way he's experiencing it. No one lowered down the inyan that it should be masim to him. So how is he being inspired? Yeah, but there's a difference. Why when he sits next to the Gemara, he doesn't get inspired? Doesn't have a serious tshuva. When he walks by, he does davening, he has a serious tshuva. What happened? What happened over here? He has a serious tshuva. If you can have someone covered over with a talis and he's faking, it's not going to affect him. There's a certain. So when there's, I'm saying, an akudah amitis, an akudah of truth has a certain has effects because it's not limited. Something truthful doesn't have limitations. It doesn't have to suit itself to affect. A true dveikus in davening has an effect. Is something which has a care. It's a powerful. Al derech you say the musik over. It's a profound thing. A profound thing affects people. Affects realities outside of it. It doesn't have to suit itself. This is something profound. A true davening is a profound thing which makes waves around it. The etzem is profound. Something, so that's, the etzem is unlimited. He makes waves around it. It's a different Indian. Shefa means that the Indian, the way it is, without lowering it down, wouldn't have an effect. Because without lowering it down, it exists in the Mashpia's mind. He has no idea about it. It doesn't make waves it doesn't make waves automatically around it. The etzem is mugbal. Matshenk is something that's real, makes an impression outside of it. How does it make an impression? It's not Damaderach Shefa. Not that it lowers itself down to make an impression. He's not thinking about things. He's thinking about his davening. But something true is not limited. It affects outside of you also. So what's affecting, not something that's limited to affect. The thing that's causing this serious tshuva is not a quality that's limited to the form of affecting a serious tshuva. It's the etzem itself affecting it. It's a whole different meaning. Versteht the meaning? Yeah, but that's a different part. You say that. I'm not saying it's a different Shmi. I'm saying a different point. I'm not saying it's a Shmi. It's not a technical thing. If you're going to make a fake image of someone davening, it's not going to make an effect on anybody. You can make the same faces. But I'm trying to bring out that a true thing is not limited. It makes an impression outside of it. That's the idea of it. In Shefa, the thing is limited. The water in the stream is a limited entity. If you have it, you have it. You don't have it, you don't have it. How do you get it? So it has to go to you. It has to lower itself down. It has to suit you. Here, this etzem doesn't have to go anywhere. The etzem is in its place. It's a powerful thing. It makes an impression around it. It doesn't have to lower itself down to the world of expression, to the world of impact. It doesn't have to make a game, making a speech. He has to lower himself down to say things that are impactful. He's living in his davening. He's not thinking about impacting other people. He's not thinking about inspiring. So how is he inspiring if he's not thinking about it? If his davening is not channeled to inspiration, how is he inspiring? If something's true, it inspires. The truth itself inspires. He doesn't have to come to the form of inspiration, to the form of impacting people. The emes has a strong. That's the idea of it. So what's being nizgala? What's inspiring this person? The etzem itself, not anything else. But the etzem is coming into a form of inspiration. But it's the etzem inspiring. Inspiration is that you're geared and you're thinking about a makabel. So the idea now is mode is to affect people. This idea is not mode is not about inspiring anybody. He's sitting in davening. He's not thinking about anything else. But a true davening, the truth is not limited. If it's not limited, it's gonna make an impression outside of it. The etzem itself is gonna make an impression. It's a different story. That's the idea of now. The meilus, the eres mein amar. The eres mein amar. Avada, if we're looking at the we can't sense the inyan the way they are in the etzem. The is gilui, so it's the more in a state of gilui. It's the more in a of gilui.
Why would you say me'ein amar? It's very similar and almost very exact.
Because me'ein means that me'ein is a.
The way we use me'ein.
This is the word me'ein amar. It doesn't mean that it's similar. It means that it's the same.
Why do we use the word me'ein?
The face, you have to look in the Sefer Erchem if there's a taisha. What's the me'ein? When we use the word me'ein, that it's like. Everything's like. I'm saying, and Mashpim and Kaplan are also alike. Shefa and Mayim is also alike. It's all. But it's not. The small water is not the same as the big water. Me'ein means that it's the zelbazach.
Maybe that's
the zelba. So I have to look at it. I don't remember the.
What is it?
Huh?
It's
the same. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if the Chreis, I have to look if the Sefer Erchem, the Chelik Beis, was a lot of more Mamarim came out after these Svarim came out. Sefer Erchem Chelik Beis came out in the early Lamets, and a lot of Svarim Chassidus were printed later. So it could be that there's a lot of things from. It's a lot of the Rebbe Shazamarim, or the Rebbe Marash, they're all printed in the Mems. This came out many years ago. Good.
trying to say that.
No, I'm saying could be there's Taichin from later on also. I don't know. Could be that it's beferish to address the face. Oh, so look at the Rebbe says over here. So the Rebbe doesn't go into all the pratim of Ermin Amar. The Rebbe just brings the Mamarim that from Shmeis that year. This is a very interesting thing because if you look in the Maimer there. But if the was the idea of light in a form of Gilui, so then if you have light that comes from a candle, light that comes from it should be the same thing. The idea is light. Experiencing light is the same thing. But since what is the reflecting the etzem, so what's being reflected here is the etzem. So this, the etzem of the ner is different etzem than the etzem of mar. It's not about the light. What's causing us to see is no energy that's causing us to see. And then a shemesh contains this energy, a candle contains this energy, and the moon contains this energy. But what are we getting? A light to be able to see. What's enough? Who contains this energy? As you say, there's a fire. Are you able to see in the fire if it came from a stone, came from a match, or it came from a lighter? You can see where the fire came from. The fire. There's an idea of fire. Different things contain that energy. But if there is no quality to see. There's a sun which contains light, and there's a moon which contains light, and the light and what's emanating is that the sun is being reflected, the sun is being emanated, so you're able to tell in the air that this is light to the sun, it's different light. It's the sun, this is the moon. Yeah. So now, I don't know how to say it, but here the Rebbe starts a whole inyan, and the Rebbe gets a chiddush gadol ma'ida in the inyan. The Rebbe goes now to the ganze parsha, which is a shtickle chiddush, not stam a chiddush, but this is inyan zeh. Inyan zeh she'er me'in amar, u'ad gedei kach, shemitzad zeh nasa yod es havas abriya yesh ma'in. Before we get into this...
Take a break?
No, I just want to say one thing. A break from what? Should I go to sleep? I should take a break. Huh? Me?
No, us.
Say it. No,
I'm just kidding.
Where does this any come into the context? The Rebbe is not stand darshaning over here, but it comes into the context of a very good base in the matter of Legani Tashin Yud. Right? The matter of Legani Tashin Yud. So we have the Shvika wants to explain what's the idea of the Eitzer, which exists in Lamaila. The Eitzer Elyon. Eitzer Elyon at the end of the Maimer is going to be, the Tkunezer says, Lamaila Adin Ketz, Lamata Adin Tachlis. The Eitzer Elyon is the Lamaila Adin Ketz. That's the Eitzer Elyon. The Tvar Mastumim is Lamaila Adin Ketz. So now we have to Tkunezer says Erin Saf is Lamaila Adin Ketz and Lamata Adin Tachlis. So the fact that it says, that's the beginning of Vayelech and Samachov, that L'chura, the Lamata Adin Tachlis has a stirrer to saying the word Erin Saf. Erin Saf means that it has no limits, has no limitations. The minute they say it's Lamaila Adin Ketz and Lamata Adin Tachlis, Maila and Mata are yanim of Tzir, are yanim of Agdara. There's high things, there are low things. Maila Mata is yanim of Gdarim, of Saf. This thing is high and it's not low, and there's low and not high. So you see the Erin Saf contains the Maila Adin Ketz and Lamata Adin Tachlis. That's L'chura Shtira to saying Ein Saf. That's a question of what does it mean to Kunezer? Erin Saf, you should say Erin Saf Ein Le'akbalas, that's what you should say. Or Erin Saf is Blikvol. What's the pshat l'mayla and gets a matin? There's more. There's maylech more in the nusach and Vayelech. I asked the question, but that's a shayla. What's with Eretz Mayla that's very high, very low? What's these things that is mentioned here? So Chassidus explains that l'mayla gets matin and taklas that the Knesset wants to bring out that in the earth there's two opposite modes. The earth is Ein Sof, number one. It's earth Ein Sof, and then there's two modes that this Ein Sof expresses itself in. It's Ein Sof in the sense that it's begilui blikvol. Where is expressed the Ein Sof of there? That it's begilui blikvol is lamata adin tachlis. Then there's an opposite function where the Ein Sof is not the Ein Sof is expressed. That it's behelim. That it's Ein Sof behelim. Ein Sof is the general term. The earth is Ein Sof. Now this blikvol is misbate. It was expressed in two opposite modes. In a mode of gili, that it's begili blikvol, and that's expressed in the words lamata mata adin tachlis. It's begili blisaf. That's lamata mata doesn't mean that it comes very low. It's begili blikvol. Therefore, it's begili even in very low places. And malala the kes means that it's blikvol behelim, opposite to Legani. And this Nekuda Lamata, it's not that it's very high and very low. It's two Eifanim or two modes of there, two Tnuas in there. The Kav Helm and the Kav Gilu. And the Chassidus says that not only that when you say Snat, it's a nice thing to know, it could be Ein Sof, then it'll give a description. That there's two modes how this Ein Sof expresses itself. It Blik Von the Kav of Gilu, Blik Von the Kav of Helm. But these two modes bring out that it's a deeper idea of Ein Sof. If you say Eir Ein Sof itself without adding Amal Kesmata Din Tachlis, then we wouldn't understand the Geidel Ha'ilu of the Ein Sof of there. It's unlimited, it's Blik Von. When you say the Ma'ala the Kesmata Din Tachlis, that gives us a whole deeper understanding of what's the Pshat in the Blik Von of there. So the Rebbe starts explaining now, Tona, the Rebbe spoke, the Etzem idea that the Eir is Ein Sof.
Well, what's the whole Blik Von? What's the whole addition?
We'll have to see. But in the words, when you say Lamala Kesmata Din Tachlis, that brings out it brings out a certain aymek that we wouldn't know from the etzem part of it, the word of Ein Sof itself. So what the Rebbe starts explaining here is the Likud of Lamata Mata Din Tachlis. So the Rebbe starts saying this At Kedekach is not expressed in the words Eir Ein Sof. This At that the Eir is Ein Sof is Mein Amar to the extent of what the Rebbe is going to say weiter, that's expressed in the words Lamata Mata Din Tachlis. Without adding Lamata Mata Din Tachlis, the word Eir Ein Sof itself wouldn't bring out the extent of this Blik Vol. So there's a certain aspect of the Blik Vol of the Eir that's expressed in the words that the Eir is Lamata Mata Din Tachlis. And then there's a deeper sense of Ein Sof, which is expressed in the words Lamata Mata Din Ket. I'll have to see later. You understand what I'm saying? So till in this paragraph, that's why I did the Eir is Ein Sof. The Eir is Blik Vol. How's the Eir Blik Vol? The answer is Mein Amar. And then to what extent is the Eir Ein Sof? And there's a certain chiddush that I wouldn't know from the words Eir Ein Sof. And this chiddush I know from Lamata Din Tachlis.
Lamata Din Tachlis, to what extent is the Eir Ein Sof?
I'm saying the general terms. I'm not explaining. There's the regular Avon of Eir Mein Amar. Then there is Eir Mein Amar in a much higher degree. That from learning from the words Eir itself, I wouldn't know that that's the extent of Eir Mein Amar. With the word Eir Ein Sof itself already tells me that the Eir is Mein Amar. Because if not, how is it Ein Sof? So the Mein Amar I know from as the Rebbe says is a mashal. We have a mashal lamata of Ashpa b'derech shel Eir, and Ashpa b'derech shel Eir reflects the Mar. But even after we have the mashal of Eir, the extent of how much the Eir could reflect the Mar, I wouldn't know from the words Eir itself. When the Kenezer continues and says that it's Lamata Din Tachlis, that is telling me that this Eir is much more Mein Amar than the regular idea of Eir. That's the words Lamata Mata Din Tachlis add. And Lamata gets at another point, but that's the first thing that Rebbe says Lamata Din Tachlis.
See what we explained, what Eir is. Why would I think that anything that Mark could do?
Because we're going to have to see the way he says it here. We a little bit.
Not actually the Mark.
What I'm saying is that there's Chassidus, there's Pratim Chassidus. It's not so pashut. I'm saying, and if you go through those Pratim, so there's an yanim here. It's not the Rebbe gets in a very general way. This in of Eir Mein Amar. So that doesn't express what we'll have to see the way it's brought out. I don't want to just get involved in the whole. Of course not so much. Yeah, it's not so much. But we'll see the way it's written in the I just want to bring out where he's going at. This sort of stuff. That the Eir is this Keiches Havos. Where did it come from? If he doesn't mention it in the Bible. So where is the Rebbe going to? We have to see what the Rebbe is going to. I just want to look at the Perikid base for a minute, just to see what's. Rebbe starts. So the figure right away goes. What's the pshat of Mata Din Tachlis? Hakavana shagili vayispash to subchinas ein sof blik volkal. Das steht Chassidus. There's two kavim where is expressed the ein sof of there. In the kav of gilui, that is begilui blik vol, and that's what we mean with the words Lamata Din Tachlis. That is begilui blik vol. That's what it means. What's the pshat of Mata Din Tachlis? Hakavana. Not that he goes very low. That's not the point. The point is that his gilui v'espashtus, he's begilui blik vol. That's what it means, Lamata Din Tachlis. Not that he goes very low and he goes very high. That is begilui, that's expressed in the words Lamata Din Tachlis. He can be begilui very high too. That's not the point. The nekuda is not that he goes low. The point is that it's begilui. That's the words Lamata Din Tachlis. Pshat Lamata Din Tachlis is that kavana shagilui v'espashtus v'chenes ein sof blik vol klal. Oh, so the Rebbe says now. Zel klein bechlal, that's the pshat Eir Ein Sof. Eir Ein Sof means that the Eir is Ein Sof. Why is it? Because Eir Mein Amar. Ma'al Eir Mein is or levad. Zamal shu Mein Amar. ויש העצמוס מבחינת פשיטס, לכן גם האיר שמן אמר מבחינת אין סוף. וזהו, איר אין סוף שאיר לעצמי מבחינת אין סוף. So, but what's the thing we're starting to explain? He wants to explain the mustig of Eir Ein Sof or the pshat Lamata Mata Din Tachlis. he starts off explaining the Mata Adin Tachlis. So what the Rebbe wants to bring out here, in order to understand what's the Pshat Lamata Adin Tachlis, what the words Lamata Adin Tachlis add over the musik of saying Ermein Amar, or just saying Erin Zav. Good, it's not mechalik into two things. He starts off, the Gilis, the Blikful, that's the Pshat Erin Zav. So Kriyas Shem Erin Zav is the Erin Zav. Ermein Amar. That's Pshat Erin Zav, She'er Atzmi B'chinas Ein Zav. This Vehine is Kinira already explaining what's the Pshat Amata Adin Tachlis. That's the key. So, this is a whole new meaning, but maybe we can start the sin into the Elam is formatted.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh?
Let's go into it.
Yeah, the Chabrus will say the Sichas will start, no?
Yeah, but...
it's not a stilla.
Then you're going past 9:30?
Huh?
You want to go past 9:30?
I don't know. I don't want to them say what I want.
I'd rather not.
Huh?
I'd rather not.
Yeah. Good, let's start. We have to understand, let's first see what the Rebbe is saying, and then to understand why it's a Chiddush. Because now in our mind, Ermein Amar, so everything we'll have to see. It says, In is a Ermein Amar. The fact that the is Me'ein Amar means that the qualities of the Mar are expressed in the let's say it that way, reflects the Mar. Let's say like this, the reflects the Mar itself. That through the Savas Elam has is idea. What does it mean idea literally? So you have the etzem, and then you have the etzem is begilui. The fact that there was a Savas Elam is a result of the etzem being begilui. Once it's begilui, so it's murgish. When it's murgish, so it also it was actualized with the fact that Savas Ishmael. They have the Indian way is etzem. Then it's begilui. What's the result of Gilui? That the energy was actualized l'payel, and it came into a concrete world. The fact that it was a bria is a hemshech of Gilui. What was actualized in the Savas Ishmael? What type of qualities were actualized l'payel? The Indian at Meir given, because the Indian was Meir begilui, so it actualized itself in the world. The world is a result of Gilui. Person have a power to hold the stone. You have the koyach, the weight is behelim. Then the koyach is in a state of his galus. It's shining. So it wasn't. It's actualizing. It's begilui. What's going to happen? So I'm going to throw a stone, which is the actualization of the Indian. Al derech mitzad, the fact that the Eibishter's qualities are begilui. So they're begilui. They result in a havas, of bria. That's the ultimate gilui of the Indian. Now the Rebbe is saying, what's nichla in bria seshma'ayin? In order to have the world Ishmael, you have to have the keich of atzmus, of mitzvusim atzmus, in the ilay v'sibah shekad. So, and we're saying that the bria gevar mitzad it means that which type of quality kaviyachol was expressed in the bria, the inyan of mitzvusim atzmus. That means that through the is the skali gevar that the is begin the inyan of mitzvusim atzmus in the ilay v'sibah shekad. And that's a big chiddush. So why it's a chiddush? But that's the extent of what's the Pshat Ermein Amar. Ich wollte gesagt that what's begilui, what's able to be felt, what's begilui is only, what's shining is only a certain, not the inyan of Einei Tchila V'Lekus. And the truth is that no, what shines through the air is the Einei Tchila V'Lekus. The Einei Tchila of that.
What does it mean that the etzem is begilui?
Like I said before, it's murgish. It's bizgavus.
It can't be margish, that's it.
The fact that we're able to talk about it. There's a term called Einei Tchila.
It's impossible for it to be the hell.
But I'm saying that there can't be any terms on an idea which doesn't exist in reality. The Eibishter doesn't exist in the reality that we exist in. The Eibishter is built in Metzias Nimtza. The fact that there's a topic, we're speaking, there's an idea, that means that the fact that the Nivra is Metzias Nimtza, that's a reality. That's a Metziastic reality. And that reality is because the Eibishter's Einei Tchila was revealed in an experiential reality. And it resulted in a Bria L'Poel Mamish. But Pamash is a Metziastic Inyan.
The Inyan of Gili means there's a different Metzias, right?
What do you mean different Metzias? Gili means that the Inyan is being expressed.
That means
But if you forget about somebody, before somebody, there's an idea in a mufshitika eifin, higher than expression. which is we don't understand. But they're saying there's undefined realities. They're not only undefined that what they are is undefined. There's no definition. They have no definition of how they're. What does it mean that they're here? Every other mitzvah is, what does it mean that a physical thing is here? I'm able to touch it. With what is it here? Which traits does it have? The Eibush has no traits at all. He's not here either. What we consider here, that's not the here that he's in. So without Gilui, we wouldn't. He's not sensed. He's not in the world of sense. He's not in the world of Hergish.
So I'm saying Gilui is the definition of Gilui is that it's
in the
revealed to something. It's something else that experiences it.
But that's not the mohos of the Indian. The fact that it's experienced, it's true, it's for someone else. But the idea of Gilui is that it's murgish.
Saying if there's only the thing itself, then there's no reason.
Well, let's say the thing itself is big. There's no reason for it. Good, but who's speaking about reasons? We're saying the idea itself. The idea could be, as I said before, it's not about reasons. There's a reality of Gilui. There's a reality of Helen. Gilui means that it's mere begali b'payel. Huh? See, it's uncovered. Yeah, you have something that's hidden. It's concealed. It's within itself. It's beyond expression. And then it's the world of expression. It was materialized. It was actualized. I'm saying it in a much lower rate. Someone had an experience beyond words, right? And then he brought it down into words. Before anybody read the book, there's a difference now. Till now, the experience was higher than Isis. There was no words for it. And then he found a way and he brought the experience down into words. Before anybody knows about it, there was a change here. Till now, the idea was in a more subtle world, in an eight-letter world, which can't be expressed. And now you put words to it. You're Mabashir and Isis. That happens to be someone's be able to come read it. Good. That's a different nice. The fact that you are mighty the Indian to a lower place before someone else came. There's a musik of Gilui, a musik of Espashtas. That the Indian is mortgaged, the Indian is nidfas. It's materialized. It's here. It exists in a tfisidik way. That's a chiddush. That's good. That's Gilui. Etzim is not, the Atzmus is not connected, he's not here. He doesn't have to be here. I'm saying, he created the idea of being here, so he's beyond, he's not here, so he's not a reality. He created the idea of reality. He created the idea of experience. He created everything. What is he himself? It's not, he's him. There's no Gdarim at all. So then there's no Gilui. Gilui means you're able to feel experience. It has to be, what do you feel? What's experience? There's something came into a tangible place. It's a Gilui. That's already here. That's not it. And we're saying what came bizgalus in a tangible way, what's shining is even the Indian of Enid. And therefore through the air, Vertes Havas Yishmael. Okay, but that's Mamshah. We'll see if Thursday, we'll see what the else will be Thursday. Das ist nicht der Pashte Indian, but this Nukuda it's good to know anyway. It's good. It says the Indian to know. It happens to be that this Indian, there's two pratim here. The fact that through the air is Gala, the Indian of Ein Tchila, and the fact that in the Bria we have Indian in the Tchila. Both of them need beer. Okay, we'll have to see how to.
What was the first thing?
See, the very fact that they were speaking about it here, that the air, that in the air. That because air may namor, so through the air vert his Havas Yishmael is that the air, whatever that means, but the air carries through the tchun of Ein Tchila. That's one Indian, and the second Indian, that where do you see in the Nivra an Indian of Ein Tchila? Why is B'rias Yishmael mechayev the quality of Ein Tchila? So Alter explains. No, that will get later. It's Matan Tachas. From where do you see that the air has the quality of Ein Tchila? Varay, the air is Mahav the Yesh, and the Yesh is Ein Tchila. If the Yesh is Ein Tchila, it means that the air has to be Ein Tchila. Where do you see in the Yesh the quality of Ein Tchila? That Nukud. It's the Rabar.
Yeah.
What's the Rabar?
You don't see that it came from.
So that's a hell. Stama say hello. Who said it? That's been said Ein Tchila of Atzmus. Good. I'm saying we'll have to see. You don't see it. It's hell best. I'm saying what's hard. Put a mask. You have to. That's the Ein Tchila. The fact that the Yesh is Margaret Shlisma say that's. Because the Eibishter's Ein Tchila was Nimshach and Mizgale and was effective in creating the Yesh. What does it do with his Ein Tchila? He concealed himself, so you think.
Everything in the world, you see wood, you know.
I understand, but the source is concealed, so maybe you feel yourself. Can you understand? The Rebbe says it's only Nidmaloi. It's an imagination, the ganze Meise. So to make an imagination, you need Atzmus.
imagination.
The fact that the Nivra thinks, so Rabbi says, Nidmalesh, that he's Metzias for himself. So the earth couldn't create that. You need Keich Atzmos for that to create Azal Chechalemus.
The fact that he's married.
What does it mean he's married? So it's a real thing.
We'll
have to see. We'll discuss it.
If you didn't have a brain, you would never think that he's a shit.
But why do you need Shas? Why do you need Keich Atzmos for that?
There's no such thing as
there's no such an idea before. There's no such an idea of something not feeling its source. So even Helen couldn't create it. See, the way we think it is that there's a Kshem Olakim. He's Mailam on Olakus. So the Nivra doesn't know about its marker.
What's Helen? Helen is able to know.
No. Helen itself means just concealment. So if you conceal the marker, the Nivra has no idea that
it's not seen.
So if it's not seen, what happens? The Nivra feels himself. So the Rebbe is saying is, without another Rebbe saying, that's the Torah saying, without any Tchila, you could have a Helim, you wouldn't feel the marker, but yourself you wouldn't feel.
You have a Helim.
Shem Elokim is the Helim Behester, a better man Nivra. What's the Shalah Helim? This Midah Segvura, the Yevsh has Midah Segvura, it's not Atzmas. Midah Segvura. Person is able to conceal himself.
So it's not here. How can it be here?
How can what be here? You don't hear what I'm saying. Why does the Nivra not feel its source? I don't need to bring Inyanim of Ein Le'ileh V'Siv Shkat Mulei from Atzmos. Why doesn't the Nivra feel its source? Because its source is hiding itself from it. So how should it feel it?
So why is it?
What do you need Atzmos for that? So, but the Yevish has Midah Segvura.
So it keeps creating and going away?
Why does it go away? The Yevish has Midah Segvura.
It's here, but it's behind.
Yeah. The Yevish has Midah Segvura. Why do you need the Atzmos for that? Midah Segvura is the Midah of Helam. You could conceal his energy.
Only the Yevish can do the Helam.
Say that, but that's not Keich Atzmos, that's Gvura. No, it's Midah Segvura. The Yevish has Midah Segvura. Blik Gvura. This is Atzmos. Midah Segvura.
So we feel like... So
that you're saying that there's a positive feeling.
So, yeah,
say that. Say that. Say that. Okay, not exactly. Yeah, but I'm saying. Yeah, we'll see that. The Rebbe has a couple of words about that over here also. Nergashim, we can understand it. Good, na verstehen wir nicht.